Hi everyone, my name is Lizzie and I'm going to be your instructor for this course, Applications of Google Maps Engine. And this is a course that we're offering as part of a geography seminar class from Middlebury College. I am a geography major there. And the goal of this course is to teach you how to create effective and attractive online interactive maps using the software Google Maps Engine Pro and Lite, while at the same time we're going to try and bring in some basic spatial concepts from the realm of geography. So in general in these videos, I'm going to start off with an introduction slide. In this case it's an actual introduction, which will be in red. And then I'm going to introduce the main concepts for the video, which are the key principles you want to be taking away from each video. So for this one, we're going to be looking at interactivity and spatial visualization and their advantages. And concepts will always be in red. And next I'll quickly go through the topics that we're going to be breaking our video into. So for this video we're going to be talking about first, what is an online interactive map? Second, Lite versus Pro capabilities. And finally we'll be getting started in logging you into a Google account. And topics are always going to be in blue over here. Okay, so I'm going to visit my brother at school in Pennsylvania this coming weekend, and he really wants to go play golf while I'm there. Now, I'm pretty bad at golf, and we're pretty competitive, so I've gone to the Valley Green Golf Course, which is where we're going to go, to check out the website and scope out the course to get an idea of what I'm in for. So normally I just go to a website like this and surf around and see what I can find, and you'll see that you can take this little course tour, which is nice, and it has pictures and it has a little bit of information, but it doesn't really give me much of a bigger picture of the course as a whole, does it? So a better way to visualize this data would be to put it in a map, which Google's actually done. So the nice thing about this map is that I can get all of the data that we saw over here in the website from the map, and I can get even more. So if I click on any of these T's, which are in red, I get a nice little description of the whole, and I also get additional information. I get which number it is, I get what par is, I get ladies and men's yards, and I can also take a look at spatially each hole and its hazards. I get a nice bird's eye view, so I can look at sand traps over here, for example, water hazards, vegetation hazards, bunkers. So visualizing this data has some real advantages for me because I can scope this out and figure out a strategy beforehand, whereas someone like my brother probably wouldn't think to look at a map. So not only is this a map, it's an online interactive map, which will be what we're creating. So I want to think a little bit about what it means for a map to be online and interactive. So let's take a look at what that might mean. So I kind of think of maps as being able to be grouped into three different categories. So you have physical maps, which you can hold in your hand. For example, a road map, maybe a map you'd have in your classroom. This is kind of the traditional map that you probably think of. And then we have digital maps, which are static maps that are stored in a computer in some way or another. And then finally we have online maps, which are not only digital, but they're also on the internet, which means that they're far easier to share and access for people around the world. So next we have to think about interactivity. So this is a little bit more complicated. So I kind of think of it as if you've got your map and you've got your user. Normally you just have information going from the map to the user, but with interactivity this becomes a two-way flow of information. So it's not only is the map giving the user information, but the user is giving the map information, and they're both interacting with each other. And then so finally we have to think about what a map is, and a map is a way of spatially visualizing data. And there are some general ways that we've come up with as humans to represent spatial data. The first is through numbers, so latitude and longitude. The second is through naming a place, so in this case, Middlebury, Vermont. And then finally, we can show where something is by showing it on a map. And there are some real advantages to showing data on a map versus in these forms. Latitude and longitude, while very exact, can tend to be very abstract for the normal user. Middlebury, Vermont is probably useful for some, but not everyone. Someone from halfway around the world might not know where Middlebury, Vermont is. But a map is nice because it can show you not only where something is, but where it is in relation to everything else around it. So it shows us that spatial features do not, in fact, stand alone. Okay, and then for our software, I think of Google Maps Engine Pro and Lite as kind of being like if you were to take Google Maps and Google Drive, if you've ever used it, and if those two were to have a baby, it would be Google Maps Engine Pro. And the reason I say this is because this software has all of the easy user interface and search capabilities of Google Maps, but it also allows you to save and display and share your data and your maps the same way that Google Drive was. So it's a really nice combination of the two. So let's talk about Lite versus Pro in Google. So there are two versions of Google Maps Engine. The Lite version differs because it allows only 3 map layers to be displayed, whereas the Pro version allows you to display 10 map layers. The Lite version allows you to import up to 100 rows in a spreadsheet, whereas the Pro version allows you to import up to 2,000. And finally, probably most importantly, the Pro version allows you to measure distances and areas, which is a really handy feature. And then the other big difference is, of course, that the Lite version is free for Google and the Pro version costs something, and it doesn't cost all that much. It only costs $5 a month. If you're only going to use it for a month or so, I think it's definitely worth it. It's got some great extra capabilities, being able to do all this other stuff, and especially the measurement tool. I think for that alone, it's definitely worth $5 a month. So I'd recommend that you get the Pro, but I'm also giving you guys access to a Pro account, so that should last you for a little bit. So let's go to the main starting page. So I find the easiest way to get there is to type in Google Maps Engine Lite. Bring me here. And what I want is this one. And this is our starting page. And I'd like you for the end of this video just to navigate here and have this screen ready. We're going to go into some basic spatial concepts first, but we'll be getting back and getting started with our software in the third video. So I will see you then.